This is Dylan Adler, signing off.
From Wrangler Studios in Melbourne, Australia, it's Wednesday Nights with Dylan Adler.
Welcome to Wednesday Nights with Dylan Adler. I'm your host, and make sure while you're here you hit that like and subscribe button. We upload a brand new episode every other Wednesday night here on YouTube. Make sure you leave your comments below so we know what you're getting up to. On tonight's episode, I have the one and only AGender DJ coming your way, as well as a chat and performance with Robert K. Legend coming up a little bit later on. Right now, though, I'm chilling out with AGender. What's going on, my boy?
Yo.
So tell me about your name. I think having a name surrounding like AGender right now, is it topical? Is it taking the piss? Like, what's the go?
I kind of think it originated that way. I think it was a little bit more of a play on words, a little bit more of a fun, whimsical sort of kind of thing. I guess that's kind of what I'm like as a person. So I kind
Shocking.
of, I like to incorporate a lot of my own self identity into like my music, so it's kind of more of a representation sort of kind of thing. But I think recently, just after the Sydney Gay Lesbian Mardi Gras, I kind of sort of had a bit of a shift and a refocus on, I guess, repurposing my name and my brand and what I'm about, and obviously identifying as queer and being a member in the Melbourne drum and bass community. It's not like a huge thing. So I think it's a little bit more about being kind of a role model and kind of standing up and being, I guess kind of an ambassador, for those who are a little bit more alternative or don't really follow like a path or a label that we normally get sort of, associated with.
Totally, because I think a lot of the time people go, okay, you're a gay DJ or you're a gay person, you have to therefore be X, Y, Z.
Absolutely,
When
yeah.
you don't fit that mold. It's
Yeah. So I think a lot of it's about sort of kind of, I guess, back with the agenda thing, kind of, like breaking out of the whole like gender stereotype or,
like gay agenda.
Exactly, the gay agenda. And I mean, I guess, like coming back to agenda itself, I guess my agenda, musical agenda pretty much is, it's more about using it as a platform for unity and, embracing music as a platform to, I guess, broaden my sort of, I guess, my reach and my exposure, and it all being about sort of, incorporation, being inclusive. And I find, my community that I'm a part of, I find more acceptance within my drum and bass music community than the gay community itself, because it is more about everyone being different and coming together, and it's all about the love of the music, pure love, and being there because it's about that artistry.
Yeah, I totally vibe on that. Like, I find that, I'm a big part of the queer community as well, especially here in Melbourne. But I'm not necessarily fond of the queer community here in Melbourne. I'm much more, in love with, I guess, like the big room community or the drum and bass community.
Yeah, definitely.
All the gamers.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that area. Can't really comment, but, I think being a recent addition to Melbourne, being here for a year and having moved here from, the drum and bass mecca of Australia, Perth, which, being so isolated and far away from everything, we really know how to party and throw down, and bass music seems to be such a huge thing. And, coming from a place where that's pretty much where I got all my musical roots and influence and inspiration from and everything, coming here and bringing a little bit more of that West Coast vibe and incorporating them with the guys here, they definitely have a different kind of, vibe and style and sound over here. So I think it's also really challenged me to just open up myself and really look to be a part of someone who's like, all right, you don't really vibe on what we do, but I'm also open to exploring new musical, I guess, ventures and changing my style and working out how I can sort of fit in. And I guess it all comes back to that whole, like, where do I fit in again?
What's my scene?
Where's my scene? Where do I fit in? And, it was instant, like, open arms. I'd come here and I was like, yeah, I love this. I'm from here and I love doing this and I love playing this. And they're like, cool, man. We're totally, like, keen to have you on board and that kind of stuff. And I think it kind of started, my first exposure in Melbourne was like...
But you came to Melbourne already knowing who you were.
Yeah, exactly.
What were you like, I guess, when you were finding your place in Perth? Who was that dude?
Yeah, well, I think I kind of was a little bit of a people pleaser. I think I kind of felt like in Perth I really needed to be a certain type of person and maybe fit a stereotype, maybe fit, you know, a way in where, you know, I felt like I'd only be accepted if I'd acted a particular way. Even playing a certain style of music, because I kind of felt like, oh, I couldn't do that because I don't really have any friends there, or I don't feel like I fit in. And, you know, I think it was more the comfort and the breaking on of sort of, you know, like the mold of, I shouldn't have to be this kind of person. I shouldn't have to hang out with these people. I should just be bold enough and brave enough to go, this is what I like, this is what I want to do, this is the kind of person, this is the kind of artist I want to be.
But that takes guts. Like, it takes a lot of guts to be able to go, you know what, this is who I am, and then going forward and doing it.
And I feel that's one of the big reasons why I decided to actually leave Perth, because I felt it was really holding me back, and I felt incapable of actually just kind of shedding this old persona. Almost kind of like the caterpillar going into the cocoon and then, you know, coming to Melbourne, and now I feel like, you know, I'm this big butterfly who's this, like, you know, really outrageous and, you know, can just be totally the kind of guy I was supposed to be back home. But now I feel like this is a total city that embraces whoever you want to be. You know, you can be whoever you want to be here. You can establish whatever kind of identity, and everyone's like, that's cool, man. You know, that's rad. You know, be who you want to be. We're very much a city who's proud. We're proud of everyone here, and we're proud of everyone being so different and diverse. And I think for us, diversity and being open and accepting is just like, I think, a fundamental thing that, you know, I find a lot of communities here are all about. And yeah, I kind of think that's kind of a bit of my mantra now, where it's just a bit like using my music to just reach out and just, you know,
let's
connect.
talk about your music, because that's something that I'm really interested in. You know, I came across you at Your Shot last year, which, if you haven't heard of Your Shot, definitely get onto it. It is probably one of the best competitions if you are an aspiring DJ to get involved with. Like, I know every single year says this, but the crew that you're with in that year, you're actually friends for
years
absolutely.
And years.
You've
Yeah,
got a very little tribe.
So, I mean, I went along to Your Shot kind of going, I'm moving to Melbourne and I know about Your Shot. I had been following and I'm kind of going, this is kind of the break that I was wanting. No. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's not over there, and I kind of feel like, you know, living in Melbourne gave me that opportunity, and I thought, this is the year I'm finally going to do it. I went on board, but, you know, I was a bit conflicted about who I'm going to be. Who do I go in musically? You know, I kind of think, you know, competitions sometimes get a bad rap about it. You know, it's a popularity contest, and, you know, you've got to be popular music, and I kind of felt like I got a lot of words of encouragement and wisdom from a lot of my peers back home who are DJs and involved in the scene over there, and they said, just do you. And I thought,
that's the best advice.
Wow, I mean, you know, just do you. And I said, well, me, and this is what I want to do. And, you know, I have had a love for like drum and bass for so many years, and I said, I want to use this as a platform. I want to not only use it as a platform to sort of go, hey, I'm in a national DJ competition, but I'm in a national DJ competition as a queer guy playing drum and bass music, which is such a masculine sort of, you know, industry and sort of scene where a lot of the guys there, it's not something that comes up a lot, but I think, you know, I'm really proud of who I am, and I want to be proud to showcase that to everyone. Like, you know, maybe it'll give everyone else a little bit of, you know, courage to go, hey, yeah, I like this music, I want to step up and do that too. I think it's really important to be, you know, a positive role model to people maybe who haven't found that voice yet.
I love how you're like going for the whole role model ambassador.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's the one thing that terrifies me when people say, oh, but you're a role model. I'm like, shit. Because no, I'm like the worst person for someone. Maybe like, you know, if you're growing and you want to, but like when I think of like a teenager looking up to me, no.
Yeah.
That terrifies me.
I think I've had a lot of feedback from a lot of the judges and, you know, contestants in the competition, you know, didn't win, didn't place in a position that, everyone wants to sort of, be in. But,
Neither did Sippy.
Yeah. But, I mean, I kind of feel that not winning is actually winning, if that makes sense. Because it pushed me and it made me really not take the experience for granted. I feel like I've been so much more successful. And, I love the winners. I love the Misha girls.
No, that I'm a favourite of them.
I know you're a fan, and I think, those girls really throw down like crazy. I think they threw a bit of the D&B love in there. So I was like, go girls, thank you. That's so great. But, I mean, flying the drum and bass flag for the last year, I mean, has been incredible. Like, the experiences and the opportunities I've had through not going down a mainstream path has been phenomenal. I get to really sort of create a brand image and, promote a genre that I'm so passionate about and I love. And, I've got my little, like, Ram shirt on today, like, representing, the guys I like have a lot of love for and everything, and I even wore the shirt in the competition.
That's where I saw
it was my comp t-shirt. Like, I especially had it made for the comp, and I just was like, I'm all about that D&B life and the D&B family, and it having such like a positive impact on me, and I love sharing that story with everyone because I think if I can inspire one person to kind of go, yeah, I'm going to do what you did because I saw what you did and I saw how great the opportunity is. But I mean, it's like anything. It's hard work.
Absolutely.
You can't just expect, to be like, oh yeah, I'm in a comp and, I want gigs and I want this. And, I think you have to work really hard, and it takes a lot of hard work because there's so many artists out there and so many people aspiring to, I want to be a DJ and, but do it for the right reasons.
Totally.
I think.
Where are you playing next?
Where am I playing next? Well, I actually do a fortnightly gig at a little bar in Brunswick. It's called Grouchy Fridays. It's kind of like a thing that's been going for a while, and it's just kind of chill vibes, that kind of stuff and that thing, a bit of a start your weekend off right kind of thing. And I think it's just kind of a little bit of a break at the moment, really just kind of working on some of my own stuff and, getting ready for, a couple of, the bigger gigs that are coming on, I'm hoping actually this year I can get a little bit more involved in your shot and more of sort of not a contestant, but maybe being in the shoes that I was last year, but being able to mentor some people.
Or be a judge.
Or be a judge, like I know what they're going through and, helping them through that. And again, back to the role model sort of part, I think really passionate and I'm really just excited about getting to, help a new generation of people come into something. So
nice. Hey, AGender, are you out to stick around?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, we've got more of Wednesday Nights with Dylan Adler coming up right after this. Hey, you're watching Wednesday Nights with Dylan Adler. I'm sitting here on the couch with Robert K. Champion and Rizzy, also known as AGender. Hey, thanks for chilling out with me tonight.
Thanks for having me. Thanks again to Clayton Winshurst, who obviously sprung it on me about 2 hours ago. But yeah, any chance to sell myself shamelessly and plug myself shamelessly is a good opportunity, a good chance.
And you know what? Like, I do want to say a mad shout out to Clayton. He's been a producer of mine for a while now, so it's good that he's always got my back.
Yeah, thanks, Clayton.
So you've known Clayton for a while now, but I want to talk about like your music in general. Like, he said that you've been performing and doing stuff for about over 10 years.
Okay, well, I've known Clayton since high school, since Port Lincoln, so that was probably about 20 odd years ago now, or something like that. And I've been playing music for, I think, as long as I've known Clayton and stuff. We reconnected through our class reunion, which was about 2 to 3 years ago. And obviously, I didn't know he was in Melbourne, so it was actually good to obviously find out that there were some other Lincoln people here in Melbourne that I could obviously connect with. And I think we'd been obviously just sort of briefly talking about sort of doing stuff, like I was supposed to go down to his school to have a catch up with him and stuff and that. But yeah, he's we always say hello on Facebook and bumped into him in the Coles at Footscray as well too. So yeah, it was actually quite good just to catch up with him. my music, I've been playing since I was probably about 14, 15, and that's in a high school band. We called it was just named Port Lincoln High School Younger Band. Now, for those people that don't want to know what Youngers is pretty much Koori. What Kooris are here in Victoria, it's just obviously a tribal name for Aboriginal people in South Australia. And I'd been playing in that band and different versions of it probably through my whole life of high school, and then leaving that, and then went up to Ceduna and played in a band with my uncle and stuff, and then I think by the time I turned 18 or 20, that was when I realised I actually want to do music as a full-on thing, as my profession, chose my profession and stuff.
When you were back in your high school days, like, what were you playing? Like, was it were you on bass or you were on guitar?
I always wanted to be a guitarist, but because I was the only person who actually had any idea of how to play a bass and stuff, and so I started out playing bass in the band. And the thing is, I was actually playing bass and lead singing as well too. And so anybody who's ever played bass or sang knows it's very difficult to do the two things at the once, because it's actually your job is to keep in time with the drummer as well as sing and not to kind of lose.
Well, I just know heaps of bass players and they just don't talk. Let
Yeah.
alone
Oh well,
take the role as frontman.
I think that was the problem there. See, I didn't know how to shut up. And after a while, I wanted to get. I was always, like I said, always wanted to be a guitarist. So I got back into the guitar, and pretty much that was and it's still my main choice of instrument. I always want to be an electric lead guitarist, and I think coming out of the 80s, where guitar music was awesome, and now we don't really see much guitar music and stuff, and that.
I love how you see AGender just look away. Like
It's okay. It's okay. I'm still yet to work with a DJ that I know or like and stuff, and I think DJs and guitarists would get along really good and stuff, and that I think just on the collaborative level. And
well, it's about jamming, you know, like when you do those versus sets compared to, like, you know, when you're just like chilling out in the garage, just shredding chords.
And that's the thing, is like you only need, like what I tell people is, you only like if you're a good muser, you only need a really good drummer and a really good bass player. That's it. They already said, if you've got a good DJ, he's already got the drums and the bass, and you want them to play in time and stay in time.
Hey, we're all about drum and bass over here.
So yeah, I like and I started writing songs in kind of when I got midway through high school and stuff, and that, because I think I realised that I think just subconsciously that in order to sort of make it, you actually have to write your own songs and stuff, and not just perform other people's classics as well too. I've been doing that for the better part of probably about 10 odd years, and I shifted to Adelaide when I was about 29, going on to 30, and went to the Centre for Aboriginal Studies of Music, which is CASM, which is a part of the curriculum at Adelaide University. And it's a place where a lot of big name artists, like especially Indigenous artists, that been through in the last 30, 40 years and stuff. Just to name a few, Coloured Stones, if you don't know who they are, or No Fixed Address, and a few people, like, you know, just some really big names that have obviously graced I think those just the Adelaide and Australian music scene.
So I want to talk to you about, you know, being an Indigenous artist, because I think right now we are really in the golden age of Indigenous artists, especially reaching the forefront. You know, we had Briggs taking out such an amazing award with their album Aboriginal. What does it mean to you to be an artist, not only just an Australian musician, but also somebody who's, you know, representing such a long-standing culture that hasn't been able to, you know, share their words for so long?
Oh, I think it's and it all goes back to the people that I've sort of idolised and mentored, especially like I said, where I'm from, is Ceduna. That's where Coloured Stones and No Fixed Address and a heap of other Indigenous musos who help kind of break ground and stuff, and that are from, and like our connections to Karma, the Centre Aboriginal Australian Media sort of association. They were the people that actually bring music to, I think, remote areas and remote communities of Australia and stuff, and from there sort of branched out to places like as far as Broome, and obviously Western Australia and back to Queensland. And it's just, I think it's like it's been a long journey. It's kind of actually coming into fruition now and stuff. And the other thing is, like, now people realise that they don't actually have to have a band to be established as a muso. They can actually do everything at home, like through modern technology and stuff, and that. And I think with the YouTube and Facebook, it's just help get our music out there as far as possible. It's there's always new ideas and new stories to be told and stuff, and that's the thing. I think probably the hard thing for a lot of Aboriginal and Indigenous musicians like myself is actually to find a category because we always sort of seem to get lumped into Indigenous music when obviously pretty much we're all Australian, so it's sort of like and that's what we want to be known not just as Indigenous musicians but Australian musos and Australian singer-songwriters because the stories we tell are Australian.
Absolutely, and I think it was like shocking. Was it last year or the year before? And I think it was Briggs, and his album was under world music in the ARIA charts, and it was just like, are you for real?
Oh, I have a lot of this argument with not so much argument, but obviously a healthy debate with a lot of people because they tend to okay, he's Aboriginal, so he's Indigenous. We'll put him in the world music category.
But he's an Australian artist. It's just that simple. Right, You make music in Australia, you're an Australian artist.
And that's the thing. It's like you have these festivals and stuff and that, and they've aimed at, I think, world musos and stuff, and they're putting all the real well-known Indigenous musos and stuff in all sort of these world music festivals when we should actually be probably playing in sort of one of the mainstream Australian music festivals and stuff,
Absolutely.
And I think, like I said, it's hard to actually find out who you are as a musician because when you keep getting, I think, pushed into a certain pigeonhole and corner.
Well, how would you describe yourself? Taking cultural identity aside, how would you describe your sound and your music?
Well, I call it melodic, and it's pretty much just ballady sort of music with melodic sort of feels. Almost sort of Americana, but I don't want to say Americana because it's not actually in that traditional sense of Americana, but it's more sort of because it's my songs written about Australian people, written for myself, without that sort of the over-the-top Australian concept. And almost like you say country, middle of the road and stuff, and that folk, it kind of like people think, it's like sort of almost Jackson Browne, or maybe like Eagles, middle of the road or something, or John Denver, or and but no, it's not that. But I've actually stolen a lot of my inspiration and motivation, and I think ideas from a lot of those people because that's the stuff that I've grown up listening to.
Well, I'm really excited because you're going to be performing one of your tracks really soon. What can you tell us about that record that we're hearing?
Well, hopefully the album, we're going into the studio to record the album in May.
Is this an exclusive then?
No, I've played this song a few times and stuff. But look,
Go on.
It's probably the first time I'm actually playing it for a YouTube audience and stuff. And it's I went up because as a part of my grant and scholarship that I won a few years ago, I had a choice of picking a couple of mentors, famous, well-known songwriters that I wanted to work with, and one was Warren Williams, who's a big name in not just the Indigenous country music scene, but in the Australian country music scene altogether, and a mate of mine, Glenn Scoothorpe, who's such a great, prolific songwriter, and I actually went up and travelled up to Alice Springs to do work with Warren, and we came up with 5 songs, and I came back to South Australia, where I'm actually originally from, and went out to somewhere at Barossa and did some writing. The song I would like to do for you is I'd been tossing up what songs songs that I was going to do, and this one it's called Pain Away, which actually tells a story of I don't know, it's a hobo or sort of a transient, derelict person who'd been living on the streets and obviously coming to the end of each tether and thinks the only way to obviously save himself is by killing himself with drugs and that as well too, without actually trying to push that sort of thing, that it's actually a song about sort of a junkie sort of thing.
I might identify with this track.
Yeah.
Well, you are watching Wednesday Nights with Dylan Adler, and we have got one standout performance coming your way from Robert K. Champion right after this.
At the end of a tunnel, there's a light. It's the only see, and in my head I hear voices screaming out for sanity. So I hide in the darkness with my pain and misery, and I find strength in this needle as it takes my pain away. As I walk through my nightmare, the light it fades in front of me, but my sorrow won't let go. As death sets me free, so I hide in the darkness with my pain and misery, and I find strength in this needle as it takes my pain away. As I walk through my nightmare, the light fades in front of me, but my sorrow won't let go. As death sets me free, so I hide in the darkness with my pain and misery, and I find strength in this needle as it takes my pain away. So I hide in the darkness with my pain and misery, and by my sorrow through this needle as it takes my pain away.
Thank you so much for coming on tonight and performing for us.
Thank you for having me. It was an honour to be asked, I guess. So, yeah.
Hey, free music. I like this.
No
It's
worries.
an- it's an encore set.
A free stage as well, too, and yeah, free shameless promotion.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if people like this, where can they see more of your music?
Robert K. Champion on Facebook, and I have a private page. It's not a private page, it's a public page as well too, Robert Champion, if you want to add me as a friend and find out where more of my stuff is. But I've got a show coming up on the 25th in Collingwood. Still don't know of the location. It's a part of a festival that they've got going on there. And I've got something coming up, I think the week after Easter in Tasmania. And,
nice.
And going in to do the record my album hopefully in May. So yeah, fingers crossed that all works out.
Awesome. Well, hey, you've been watching Wednesday Nights with Dylan Adler, and make sure you check out the links for all of Robert's details. See you guys.